Your brain needs support, and new Ollie Brainy Chews are a delightful way to take care of your cognitive health. Made with scientifically backed ingredients like Thai ginger, L-theanine, and caffeine, Brainy Chews support healthy brain function and help you find your focus, stay chill, or get energized. Be kind to your mind and get these nootropic chews at ollie.com. That's OLLY.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Jump back to the summer of 2020 following the murder of George Floyd. On May 25, 2020, a white Minneapolis police officer knelt on Floyd's neck for 9.5 minutes, eventually resulting in his death. The disturbing encounter was caught on video and soon went viral. Protests and riots erupted in Minneapolis and across the world, reigniting the Black Lives Matter movement. Tens of thousands of Americans took to the streets in protest, demanding an end to discrimination, racism, and the use of unnecessary lethal police force. During this time, many corporations and universities saw this movement as an opportunity to look inwards and improve their diversity, equity, and inclusion practices. Between 2020 and 2022, there was a big boom in funding DEI policies, training workshops, and diversity hires. Companies added on specific executive roles, like chief diversity officers, to boost this progress. However, in the past couple of years, many experts have questioned the overall success and end goal of these forced policies. And these criticisms have only gotten louder after the Supreme Court's decision last summer to overturn affirmative action in universities.
The court upheld by a majority that race should not be a factor to be considered for admission in colleges. As such, there is a lot of nervousness, I will say to some extent, about what are the implications of the decision of the Supreme Court applying to colleges and now possibly being translated into the corporate sector.
That's Paola Cecchi Dimeglio, the faculty chair of the Women and Minority Initiative at Harvard Law School and Harvard Kennedy School. Dimeglio is also the author of the book Diversity Dividend. She says that the Supreme Court decision has made many hiring managers feel nervous about the legal consequences of targeting specific races and ethnicities for hire. She believes these concerns are reasonable, but that doesn't mean their hands are tied when it comes to removing bias and discrimination.
Based on the data, I have seen that looking at candidates the morning from 9 to 11 have a tendency to reduce biases that can kick in. One key element is all the candidates that were seen during lunchtime were receiving lower grade overall. They were seen as less competent candidates. And the ones that were seen in the afternoon were still receiving slightly higher positive review, yet we could observe biases kicking in regarding certain group being seen in the afternoon.
Dimeglio points to the data that uncovers how hiring managers tend to make harsher decisions and give more negative feedback during lunchtime. As the day goes on, people are also more likely to critically view candidates as decision fatigue sets in. After all, combing through hundreds of applications is no easy task, and it's difficult to have zero bias. Because of this, many experts are in favor of enlisting technologies like artificial intelligence to help reduce discrimination.
With one of the companies that we worked with, we have implemented a voice modulation. And we have seen that women and underrepresented individuals were having less discrimination from the reviewer when they were assessed toward the task that they were performing, especially in terms of coding and in terms of providing solution to the implementation of the services that the company was doing.
She touches specifically on some of the more common biases minorities typically face during the application process and job interviews.
I will say, one of the most common is just your first name and last name. I think my first name and last name overall is something that will resonate with some people, but biases will easily kick in. So that's number one. Number two, where have you gone to colleges and undergrad will also create some other type of biases.
Looking at a person's resume or CV can also give a more detailed picture of their personal background. Do they come from money? What kind of community do they live in? Where have they lived before this? Dimeglio says that some of these shared details can do more harm than good during the hiring process. She says that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to these cases. Each scenario is different based on the industry, the company, and the open position. She gives an example of how an AI program can help level the playing field during the application review process.
So, for example, someone who have 20 years of work experience, where did he went to high school, college, and graduate school matter a little bit less than someone who just came out of graduate school, generally speaking. But with this tool, we were able to leverage making sure that elements were relevant to the job and not so much to where you have come from school or, I will say, socioeconomic background that allow you to do certain type of activity.
Today, more companies are moving away from specific hiring directives that involve race and ethnicity. Instead, the focus has shifted to creating an environment that's demographically diverse. This includes factoring in differences like age, gender, education level, and socioeconomic background, among other things. Dimeglio adds there's also a push to improve overall wellness and inclusion in the workplace. More companies are prioritizing mental and physical health and want to create a space where people feel welcome. There's no doubt that there's still a lot of work to be done, but the good news is that companies are heading in the right direction. To find out more about this topic and our guest, Paola Cecchi Dimeglio, head to viewpointsradio.org. Also check out her book, Diversity Dividend, available online and in select bookstores. For more behind the scenes and to support our show, follow Viewpoints Radio on Instagram, Facebook, and X. This segment was written by our executive producer, Amira Zaveri. Our studio manager is Jason Dickey. I'm Gary Price.
This podcast is sponsored by Monarch Money. Are you saving to reach your financial goals? Reaching those goals isn't just about getting more money, but by managing what you have. And the best way to manage your money? Monarch Money. Monarch Money is a new kind of finance app that's intuitive, powerful, ad-free, and takes the headaches out of budgeting. Try it free when you go to monarchmoney.com/podcast. Monarch puts all your accounts, investments, transactions, and finances at your fingertips. With a complete view of your finances, you'll gain insights on your spending and find new ways to save. Plus, Monarch lets you customize your dashboard, collaborate with your partner, set custom budgets and goals, and track your progress toward them. See why Mint users are turning to Monarch Money and loving it, and why the Wall Street Journal named Monarch Money the best budgeting app overall. Get a 30-day free trial when you go to monarchmoney.com/podcast. That's MONARCH money.com/podcast for your free trial. monarchmoney.com/podcast.